So fans, I want to say thank you for all your support. My time here was amazing. Seven greatest years of my life. Got here as a boy, turned into a man.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Beyond the Diamond Podcast here on the Apollo Podcast Network. Brian LaLima, ApolloDez here with you. Follow us on Twitter at BLima790, at ApolloDez1, and of course, at ApolloHOU. And the season is officially over. The Houston Astros drop Game 6 and lose to the Atlanta Braves 7-0 and fall to the Braves 4-2, losing in the World Series. The Braves are the 2021 World Series champions. Dez, it sucks. Baseball season is over. And at the end of the day, I believe the Astros just ran out of pitching. Granted, Alex Bregman didn't hit well. Yordan Alvarez didn't hit well. Carlos Correa didn't hit like he usually does in October. Same thing with Jose Altuve. The list goes on. But the real factor here for me is the pitching. Luis Garcia got hit around pretty good. Gave up probably one of the farthest home runs I've ever seen in Minute Maid Park to Jorge Soler. Framber Valdez didn't pitch well. I mean, it's just, it's kind of what we talked about in the very beginning of the season. It was all going to depend on the pitching, and Max Fried for the Atlanta Braves came out and he dealt and he shoved exactly when the Braves needed it.
Yeah, for sure. Disappointing for sure, but also the fact that we can say that is just how spoiled we are as a fan base, that you can be disappointed about losing another World Series. It sucks. It was a game that was over quickly. It was a game that felt weird from the very beginning, and then Soler's home run, by God, it literally, at the stadium, the whole place was just dead quiet. You could hear the Braves dugout up in the Ultra Club. You could hear the Braves dugout on the field celebrating. That's how quiet it got. It was the furthest ball I've ever seen hit in my entire life. And just props to the Braves. They just beat our ass. Simple as that. And,
they did.
And in a World Series where it almost felt like you got lucky to force a Game 6, your margins were really, really tight, and you just couldn't afford an ass whipping like that. And that's what happened. They got their ass beat. And I think you nailed it with the pitching. Lance going down, hindsight's 2020. Really, we were lucky to even be in the World Series.
Right.
We're honestly, it just, when your stars are not going past the third inning, it's just not sustainable. And with the Braves lineup and what they are, they're just relentless. They were attacking the zone. They were making the pitchers work, and they were hitting mistakes. And when they got guys on, they executed, and I think they outslugged the Astros like 12 home runs to 2 in the series, which is wild because it's usually the other way around with the Astros. And so the offense didn't show up. The starting pitching didn't show up. The bullpen showed up all October, really carried us. They have been a punching bag for the fan base and for some of us as well. And they stepped up when the lights were the brightest, really, more than anyone. So, look, it's not over. The golden age is still alive. The window's still wide open. But getting your ass beat like that, it does suck.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it sucks. I mean, there's no way around it, especially you and I being former players. Like, we know what that feeling is. We know what the last game of the season feels like. Guys like Zach Greinke, we don't know if Zach Greinke's going to pitch again. I mean, I know that, somewhere down the road, I'm sure he'll end up in an NL Park again, pitching for an NL team so he can hit a little bit, but you just never know. Yeah. So I get that feeling. Obviously, I don't know the feeling of losing in a World Series game. I'm sure that's pretty crushing. But you look back at Game 6 specifically, and the Astros had an opportunity from the jump. The bottom of the first, Altuve leads off with an infield single. Then you get 2 on, no out. Obviously, you have Michael Brantley stepping on Max Fried's ankle, a little bit rattled. And
that really just made him a superhero.
Honestly, yeah, it really did. First of all, he steps on the ankle. Michael Brantley doesn't touch the bag. They don't review it, so they get away with that. And then Carlos Correa watches 2 fastballs on the outer half and swings at a curveball down, a slider down and in the dirt. Yuli Gurriel soft contact, or Yordan Alvarez soft contact, Yuli Gurriel soft contact. Boom, there goes the inning. And that's really the only time that the Astros had an opportunity. Max Fried after that settled in and he shoved. And if you look back at his game 2 performance against the Astros, in which the Astros won and beat him, I think he used his fastball somewhere around like 29% of the time. And then in game 6, it was completely flip-flopped. He used his fastball upwards of 50%, 52%, something like that. So completely different. Went with the slider rather than the loopy curveball, and he dominated. I mean, he pitched extremely well. And the lefties for the bullpen, or for the Atlanta Braves out of the bullpen, are nasty. What is it? It's Minter, Matzik, Will Smith. I mean, those guys are dirty and they pitched well. On the flip side, when you hit it on the head, Des, you talk about the bullpen for the Astros, and specifically Phil Maton. Phil Maton did his job this entire October run. And guys and girls, the fan base was so upset with Phil Maton coming into the game. There were so many people that wanted him gone. Get rid of Phil Maton. Get rid of Phil Maton. You and I said it time and time again. We think Phil Maton can be a dude for the Astros. Get a full season with the full offseason with the Astros. Get him into spring training. And what we saw from Phil Maton in the postseason is probably a glimpse into what Phil Maton can really be, a weapon out of the pen.
He could be your Kendall Graveman next year.
Absolutely. If you don't re-sign Kendall Graveman because he is going to be a free agent, don't know where he's going to go, he could essentially be that guy because he pitched his ass off this season. I don't want to hear any Phil Maton slander at all because the dude did his job. He pitched well. And the other night, there were 2 huge innings from Phil Maton.
Yeah. Huge. And I think, honestly, I mean, we will talk about Brent Strom retiring, our guy that came on the pod. But before all that, in his exit interviews with Vanessa and Brian and everyone else, he mentioned the success of James Click in the sense of the guys he went out to go get for the bullpen. Yeah, it was a little rocky during the regular season, but they gelled, they came together, and in October, they were dudes. Yimi Garcia was a dude. Phil Maton was a dude. Kendall Graveman has been a dude. And that really got us to the World Series. Obviously, you expect the offense full of all-stars and Rookie of the Years and MVP candidates and MVPs that they'd show up. That's just baseball sometimes. Sometimes you just have, I mean, when you're playing this Atlanta Braves team, and when we had Ashton on, she said they're hot. Like, they're literally the hottest team. I think Tony Adams tweeted like they were like upwards of almost 75% after the All-Star break or after the trade deadline. Like that was their winning percentage. I'm like,
yeah.
Honestly, looking back, we should have taken that more serious because they were so hot and they beat the shit out of the Dodgers. It was going to be a war. And with Charlie Morton going down in game 1, that's just a ton of resiliency they had to go through, and they've earned it. They really did earn that World Series. On the flip side, the Astros with Lance going down, it just never seems like they could get there, right? The Red Sox, the Yordan pretty much won the series offensively, while the bullpen kept us in. Framber obviously pitched his ass off, but in the World Series, no one other than Zach Greinke, who wasn't even stretched out, was the only one that could extend a game in a start, and that's not a winning formula. And the Astros lost because of that.
Yeah, I think the frustrating part is throughout the postseason with the Astros, you were waiting for one of those guys after Lance McCullers goes down to just have one of those absolute mesmerizing outings. And we saw it in Framber Valdez, and then we saw it in Luis Garcia. So you think, okay, these guys are kind of settling back in. At least one of the two is going to throw a gem in the World Series, and we didn't see it. And that's disappointing. And, you know, the bullpen kept the team in it. But, you know, especially games on the road in Atlanta, to be almost no hit by the Braves in the World Series. 1, you got to tip your cap to the Braves. But then 2, it's like, man, the Astros just need to have some better at-bats. I mean, this is the World Series, boys. This isn't, you know, a midseason in May. So that's kind of, I look back at those games in Atlanta. Game 1 obviously was not played very well. It just
seemed like they were trying to hit the 5-run, 6-run, 7-run home run and with one swing, and you're chasing 1 or 2. Like it was the game plan just, and the swings were just so big, and I was just screaming like, hey, let's just calm it down. Let's bring it together here, string some hits and see what happens. Because that's kind of what Atlanta did, right?
Yeah.
It was a single here, an infield single there, a home run.
Right.
2 outs. You blinked and you're down, you're chasing 2-3 runs and you're like, shit, it was just 2 outs. We were just cruising. What the hell just happened? And it just seemed we couldn't turn that corner offensively. It felt like, in my perspective of all of it, was like, as later we get in the series, maybe it just turns on. Just catch lightning in a bottle.
Right. Exactly.
Couldn't do it.
Right.
And we just couldn't do it.
And that's kind of the sentiment that I had just a couple of minutes ago. It's like you're just waiting for it, right? You're waiting for someone to catch fire and someone to spark the offense, or somebody from the starting rotation to just toss 5 or 6 strong innings, and it didn't happen. And it happened. And for
that
the
bullpen,
Braves,
and that Braves bullpen, they shortened games down.
They did.
You nailed it with all those lefties, right? Matzik, Minter, Will Smith. The game's basically over in the 6th inning because you're not hitting them. You're absolutely not hitting them. And when that formula hits, I mean, their starters are going 5+. You have one bridge guy, and then you have a back end bullpen. Like, obviously, on paper, the Astros are capable of doing that, but their starters couldn't get past the 3rd goddamn inning.
Yeah, I think you look at another thing to point out about the Atlanta Braves is Eddie Rosario came into the World Series hitting damn near 400, just basic average. I mean, and 3 or 4 home runs. Dude was literally one of the hottest hitters on the planet. Upside, take out Kike Hernandez for the equation, early in the postseason, and then I think up to like game 3 in the ALCS, Kike like literally could not get out. Same thing in the NL. It was Rosario. Mm-hmm. Rosario was relatively quiet in the World Series, but it was guys that picked up the slack for Rosario, and that's what we didn't see from the Astros. Like, we didn't see it. Yordan was the ALCS MVP. And I think he had, how many hits did he have in the World Series? 1?
1, I think.
1, because Zach Greinke had 2, and he had more hits than Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah.
So it's things like that in a lineup. Obviously, the cliche saying is hitting is contagious. But when hitting is not going well, who in your lineup is going to pick up the slack? Who is going to spark the offense? And usually, as Jose Altuve goes, the Astros go. But Jose Altuve didn't go, right? So that's where you see the difference in the two teams in the World Series. And that's why the Braves won the World Series, straight up. You had guys, Dansby Swanson. Dansby Swanson struggled. And he had 2 timely home runs. 2 big home runs at the perfect time for the Braves. So it's little things like that.
When you have a Dansby or Travis d'Arnaud or all these one-off
Travis
guys.
d'Arnaud, are you kidding? What did you call him on the time? Travis d'Arnaud, are you serious? What did you call him, Mickey Mantle?
He was
like out of nowhere, like
out of
come
nowhere.
on,
He was
man.
squaring balls up, and that's the frustrating thing about it all. And if I'm a Braves fan, that's what makes baseball the best thing about it. Anyone could step up and could carry a series like that, and it's frustrating on the other side because our lineup was so much deeper and so much more accolades, and they just got beat. And that's just baseball at the end of the day, because anytime you get into October, and I've said this all, and from 6 years old all the way up to college ball, good pitching will beat good hitting when it matters the most.
Yep.
Good pitching will always beat good hitting. And my dad, my grandpa, everyone has just, coaches in the past have always reiterated that. And it just, going in the series, I was like, fuck, we're really just relying on the bats to carry this. It's difficult. It really is. You could have a Red Sox team, in 18 that, score like 50 runs a game or whatever it is. That's lightning in a bottle. But everyone else in October, it's these sweaty games that you got to come back and win, and you got to figure out ways to win a game like that. And we just couldn't turn the corner.
Yeah, and that's, like I said, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but we said it early on. One of the very first episodes here on Beyond the Diamond podcast on the Apollo Podcast Network is the Astros can get to the World Series with the roster they have, but is the pitching going to be good enough to win them a World Series? I said no, right? And I believe you said the same thing, and it didn't work, and we saw it. What wins games? Offense. What wins championships? Pitching and defense.
Yep.
And it's exactly what we saw. And it sucks because, obviously losing a World Series is terrible, but man, just take a step back. Baseball season's over. right?
Yeah.
So here in the city of Houston, let's just talk about the city of Houston for a second. They have an NFL team here, and they're god-awful. Whether you're a Texans fan or not, there's no secrets. The Houston Texans are awful. The Rockets have a great core of young guys, and they have the rebuild in place, and they're going to be good down the line. They're exciting to watch, but at the end of the day, they're probably not going to be 500. And baseball season's over.
Yeah.
And the Astros they lost in the World Series, So now what do we focus on? Well, Brent Strom is leaving the Houston Astros. Don't know if he's going to find a job in Major League Baseball somewhere else, but it's already been officially announced that he's not going to return to the Astros. We don't know if Dusty Baker is coming back. There is a press conference on Friday at 3 o'clock. Jim Crane, James Click, and Dusty Baker. That'll be at 3 p.m. Central Time. So I'm assuming.
I didn't even know that. You just broke news to me. I didn't even know that was going on.
What do you always do? Yeah, so Dusty Baker, they're going to have a press conference. I'm assuming they gave him a 1-year deal to be the manager again. Yep, maybe probably another team option for 2023. So 2022, I'm assuming Dusty Baker is going to be back. So that's something to look forward to. Obviously, the Carlos Correa stuff is going to be flying off the shelf here in a couple of days because free agency opens up.
Baseball's literally, Brian, I don't mean to cut you off or I'm about to give you this bad omen, but baseball ends, right? The collective bargaining agreement's up, like December 2nd or 3rd. We may not start on time.
I know. Look, we talked about this in the middle of the season. We talked about all kinds of different things. We talked about, obviously, you had the sticky stuff situation. You've got, what's it called? You had the, oh my gosh, just how bad the umpires were this year. So you're going to also look to that in the CBA. You had the minor league issue where guys were living in their cars. So all of that and just everything going wrong with baseball. And it starts with Rob Manfred. And the CBA, I believe it ends, like you said, I want to say.
It's the second or third.
I think so. CBA, I'm going to look this up right now. Let's see.
And the fact that baseball legitimately cannot, like, spring training may start late. That pushes the season back because of the work stoppage.
Yeah, it's I mean, if you Google just give a simple Google search of CBA MLB, the first article that pops up is the early stage CBA talks between MLB and the MLBPA are not going well.
Oh no.
MLB CBA discussions are not headed in the right direction. There's another one. Yeah. The CBA expires December 1st. Yeah.
Ugh.
And it's been talked about all season long, kind of off on the back burner, that we sure as hell might have a work stoppage or a delay in the season. I mean, there's all kinds of issues right now with that CBA and all the new rules that they're trying to implement, all the experiments they want to do. I mean, it's just
this new ball with the pre-tacked because Garrett Cole is still bitching and moaning.
Right. So I don't know, man. It's sad boy summer. Or I'm sorry, sad boy winter.
Sad boy winter.
Sad boy winter. Here we go.
Heartbreak Houston and sad boy winter.
Heartbreak Houston, man. I think it's kind of funny to me that the Dodgers fans and other fan bases are trying to come down on Astros fans because the Astros didn't win. They didn't, the Giants and the Dodgers had 106, 107 wins, whatever the hell they scored or collected this year. But that's another beautiful thing about baseball is you don't have to be the best team to win the World Series. You really don't. Look at the Nationals. I hate to bring that up, but look at the Nationals. They were terrible in August in 2019. They weren't going to win it. They weren't even going to get in the playoffs, and they snuck into the wild card. They win the wild card, get through the division series, get past the Dodgers in the NLCS, and then they win in 7 games against the Astros. Against Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander, and Zach Greinke.
Ugh, this is disgusting.
One of the best rosters ever put together for a team was the 2019
I hate the
Astros.
NL East. Fuck the NL East.
Yeah,
I'm over them. It's just...
And not to mention, I'm sorry, I'm piling on some negative shit here, but let's not forget that Charlie Morton broke his freaking leg in game 1.
Yeah.
The The Braves had two bullpen games.
And we almost got closed out on back-to-back bullpen games.
Oh, sad boy winter.
Fuck.
It sucks, dude. Oh, God. Baseball season is over.
I mean, it's wild. It's absolutely wild because it ended with a whimper. It just ended with the whimper, right? The season itself was so like the redemption tour, the fuck you tour, H-Town versus everyone, all this stuff. And then just to go out in a whimper. It felt like we were losing a mid-August game. Like there was just no juice. And the Soler home run really killed the crowd. It killed everyone. It killed me on the spot. And then I was like, okay, just scrap it, maybe cut in half. And then Dansby running into one. I was like, oh, this is fucking done. This is over.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna enjoy this for what it is and all that. So Carlos Correa, I don't know if it was his last game in Minute Maid Park. It probably is. I don't know. I've heard some good things, heard some bad things.
Yeah.
But the public perception of it all is he's gone. And if it was one hell of a career for him here in Houston.
Yeah. He grew up in the system. I mean, just as George Springer did.
How many 1-1s hit like that? Not a lot.
Right.
Not a lot of 1-1s hit.
And then so two things here. The Astros' future is bright. The window is not closed by any means.
Wide open.
Exactly. You've got Framber coming back. Lance McCullers back. Luis Garcia back. You still got Jake Odorizzi. You can do something with him. You can work with him all offseason, work with him in spring training, whatever it is.
Would you have started Jake Odorizzi over Luis Garcia?
I talked with some of our Apollo guys. I think I would have. I didn't like, and obviously hindsight's 2020, right? I mean,
Luis is one pitch for 3 clean innings.
Yeah,
like he's literally one pitch away from that.
I just don't, and not to take anything away from Luis Garcia, I just don't think he's good enough yet to come in and pitch on 3 days rest in that big moment. And he pitched well. He very well was a pitch away from, getting Soler out, and then who knows what happens after that. But I would have, I don't know. Again, hindsight's 2020. I would have, it would have been, it would have been Jake Odorizzi fully rested or a Luis Garcia on 3 days rest. I don't know. I don't know. I think Jake Odorizzi looked really, really good in his last appearance in the World Series. Was in the World Series, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Game 2? Yeah. Believe so. I don't have the stats in front of me. I didn't.
No, it was game 1.
Was it game 1? Yeah, it was game 1. It was game 1. And he pitched well.
I mean, look, I'm a big Jake Odo guy. Feel like I'm the only one sometimes in the population of the town, but he pitched his dick off too. He ate a lot of innings. That was his role, and it's tough to say hindsight, right? It's 2020. Luis Garcia is probably rookie of the year, and he threw an amazing game against the Red Sox and everything like that. It was like everyone else. It was they either pitched to their ceiling or they pitched to their floor. It was frustrating as a fan, but honestly, the experience they're going to get from this, they logged World Series innings, they've logged deep October playoff runs and those innings that come with it. You can't teach that. So this time next year when we're back in this situation, all of that is going to be pretty tangible proof to help them take that next step.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I say that the window is still wide open. You got guys in the, waiting to get called up like Peter Solomon, Hunter Brown, Corey Lee, obviously Pedro Leon, Jeremy Pena, those guys. Those are some of the four or five names to keep eyes on. Then you got Jose Siri, you've got Chaz, you got Jake Myers. Hopefully he's going to be 100% healthy here in the near future where he can go into spring training and not worry about the shoulder. You still have Michael Brantley. I mean, you still got the core group. But here's my question that I wanted to ask you, right? So George Springer comes up through the Astros system, right? And he plays his ass off. Every dollar he made was well-deserved, right? But the Astros couldn't re-sign him. Leaves, goes to Toronto. Carlos Correa, same kind of situation. comes up through the system. We see him grow into a man. He's had so many big moments for the Houston Astros. And it looks like he's probably going to make a big-time payday, probably upwards of $300 million. And the Astros, I don't know if we're going to be able to re-sign him. At what point does that stop? Right? So at what point does the next guy that comes up for the Astros and is a perennial power player where he runs out his rookie deal, arbitration deals, has big moments for the organization, and then he just goes to another organization, goes to another team? When does that stop? We've already seen two. Well, we've seen one for sure. We don't know about Carlos Correa just yet. Let's say Correa walks. When does that stop? Like at what point does the organization say, hey, this guy came up through our system. He is a core part of our team. When do we see a big money move by the Astros?
I don't think it happens. I think it
ever.
Look,
or just, and I know we're just spitballing here, but I mean, like, look at it, right?
No, I think the fact is, this is where baseball is. Baseball, if you're not the Yankees, you're not the Dodgers. And look, the perception of Crane being cheap, no, he's shelled out money. He's willing to shell out money as long as the team is capable of winning a championship. This team is capable of winning a championship. That's why my percentage is probably around 20%, because I don't think James Click will want to do a deal. I think Crane will want to do it. Crane will step in and make this happen if he wants it to make it work. I just think the way where baseball is, and it's so analytically driven and on an Excel sheet, the value of Carlos Correa and what you got for the last 7 years is so far exceeded from what you've done that the risk you take on by giving a contract like this, there's a lot more risk management involved in it.
Right.
Just because of where he's going to be in age, where he's going to be. Obviously, I understand all the intangibles. I know what he is as a captain. I know what he does in that dugout. I know what he does in that locker room. I know what he does for the city. I know what he does on the field with his glove. Probably going to win a Gold Glove. What he can do with the bat. His ceiling is an MVP. His floor is an above average hitter in Major League Baseball. That's his floor. Is the bare minimum. So, saying all that, I just think where baseball is today, that you can get away with it, and the sense of, look what the Braves just did. Ronald Acuna just went down, right? Mm-hmm. He goes down, he blows his ACL out. Disgusting way, right? Let's
not forget about Marcell Ozuna going out to the domestic violence stuff.
Correct.
Gone. Another damn good player gone for all that. So you lose those two guys.
What they did, and we talked about it with Ashton, we actually talked about it on our trade deadline show, is the Braves literally moneyballed the production of Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozuna. They got it with Jock, they got it with Duvall, they got it with Rosario, they got it with Soler. They literally recreated those guys without their name by just math.
Right.
By basic math. The Astros did it this year with George Springer. People are not really realizing that. The production of Kyle Tucker and the production of Yordan Alvarez exceeded what George Springer would have done, and then more, so that value's there. So what I see the Astros potentially doing is the same thing with Carlos Correa. They're going to find a way to make sure that production can still be manufactured in the numbers. Obviously, it's not going to be sexy. It's not a name. It's not a big fat contract. That's what people want to do.
It's not going to be popular, right?
But it can be done, and it was just done this past season with George Springer, because you had a Chas McCormick, Miles Straw, Jake Myers, Jose. You had all these different turntables and turn things, and that production plus the emergence of Kyle Tucker and Yordan Alvarez, you got all that production and then some. So now you're asking a little bit more, because now you're throwing a variable of Carlos Correa and all that production. But it can be. I just don't see teams that are so far down this road, and this is where baseball is, and this is why I think the CBA is going to be ugly, because these teams are not willing to give out these fat contracts, and the value of the players going down. And as a player union, they're like, why? What are we even doing here? Because now my guys are busting their ass, and they're not even getting the contract they deserve to get for the market value or whatever it is, because they're going to bring up a Pena and let him have 300 at bats, but also have the production of everywhere else, somewhere else, to recreate Carlos Correa in the lineup. So I just don't see teams doing it. Will the Astros do it? I don't think so. Will Crane do it? Absolutely, he would.
Yeah.
But I don't think the brain trust of Click and his guys in the front office are okay sending that check across the table because it's gonna be a big fucking number.
Yeah, and I think that we're a long way removed from guys like Buster Posey, who is getting ready to announce his retirement. He spent all of his time with the San Francisco Giants, and he played well. He's a future Hall of Famer. And then I use some local examples like Craig Biggio, Jeff Bagwell. Jeff Bagwell got traded from the Red Sox to the Astros, but he spent 90% of his career with the Astros. Biggio, his entire career with the Astros. I don't think that we will see situations like that. Like Anthony Rizzo with the Cubs. He spent a good amount of time with the Cubs. Boom, traded. You look at Freddie Freeman, all of his time with the Braves, and he's about to be a free agent. And he wins a World Series. Do they re-sign him or are they going to let him go? Right? So I think with the big money contracts that these players are going, rightfully so, when they do get them, I think I think what we're going to see is you're going to see teams bring up players. They're going to run its course, so to speak, with that organization, play well, and then they will see their ceiling and they will see another team throwing big money at them, and they're going to go chase that bag.
Yeah.
Like
and they should.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say. Which they absolutely 100% should. Carlos Correa is going to get paid $300 million or more this offseason. And it's rightfully so. You already talked about all the intangibles, so I'm not going to list them. We already know all the intangibles.
Yeah.
But then I bring back my baseball player mind, and I think, obviously I'm not in the situation of trying to make $300 million. But then it's like you see these organizations that are going to offer Carlos Correa this massive amount of money, and one of the big names or one of the most the most talked about teams that's going to try to offer him is the Rangers.
Rangers. Rangers are the Cubs. If I were to like put people in pole positions right now, it's definitely the Rangers 1, Cubs 2, Yankees 3.
Right. So
from what I've been hearing.
If you go to the Rangers aren't going to be good anytime soon.
Yeah, but
then it's like, do you take into consideration wanting to go to a competitive team, a competitive organization, right?
I mean, I got my ring, I got my pennants, I got my Gold Glove.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get my money.
Yeah,
look. The first contract's for you, the second one's for me.
Yeah, for sure.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
But as a fan and as an organization, the Astros, they nailed it. You take a guy 1-1, first round, first overall, and he emerges into what he's given you over the last 7 years. Like, you hit on it. Because a lot of teams don't hit on 1-1.
Right, they don't. So another example that I like to bring up is Mike Trout. Mike Trout is arguably the best player to ever play. And he's been to one postseason. One postseason. He got the bag, rightfully so, stayed with the Angels, and he probably won't make another postseason the rest of his career unless the Angels do some kind of major moves and get pieces around him. They got rid of Pujols, so that contract comes off their books. Rendon obviously went out because he was hurt this year, but it's like that. That's my, an example. It's like guys like Mike Trout. The dude has literally made the postseason once. So it's like you get this back, you had an opportunity to leave, but you secure a massive payday, but you're still on the Angels, and I don't know. I guess
I can't be mad. He that's the team that drafted him. They threw a fat bag. I mean, that's on the organization to build around him. That's not a Mike Trout problem. That's an Angels problem.
Right.
No, I mean, I would probably said throughout the year that I am the highest percentage of Carlos re-signing with the Astros is now than wherever I've been for the last 2 years. And it's still like at around 15 to 20% on that even happening in my eyes. The good thing about it is that the golden age is still alive. The window's still open because you're going to have a core of a Tucker, Jordan, Altuve, Bregman, Yuli, Brantley, and then whoever emerges in the outfield, right? and then whoever you go get. Hell, you may go get Trevor Story for about 175. Give me Trevor Story for 175. He's 28.
Do you think Justin Verlander accepts the qualifying offer?
No.
You think he'll try to go out and test the market and get more?
He's heading out west, I bet.
Think, huh? Is that a source?
I bet he's heading out west.
Is that a source, or is that just your gut?
Nah.
Yeah.
I bet he's headed west.
I'm interested to see what the market is.
But I mean, it doesn't even matter because the work stoppage is happening.
Yeah.
And now you have. Do you sign before and lock something in before this lockout happens? Or do you wait because now the financials are different and you may have sold yourself short on the front end, or you sold yourself short on the back end and it's not what you think it's going to be. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be really ugly. The players' union's pissed.
Yeah. I mean, we
Manfred's
look at
made
it.
No friends.
The CBA is literally less than a month away from expiring.
Yeah.
Free agency officially opens on the 7th, so in a couple of days. So, and we know this, deals usually aren't made right off the bat. You go through winter meetings, you start to hear rumbles. You might see a few early deals done in December, but a lot of big deals get done in January, February.
One factor that I keep this falling back on is, and this may just be naive, is that Jose Altuve has been very cautiously optimistic in his interviews when talked about Carlos Correa. Yeah. And they're best friends. We know that. Everyone knows that. I think it would be different if I think Jose knows by now, right? And I think the fact that he still is very cautiously optimistic about what he's saying in interviews is a positive indicator. And the fact of, I think Carlos wants to stay, they just got to make it happen.
Right.
The Astros just got to want to make it happen. They could just be like, hey, thank you. Thank you for your time, your service, everything you've done for the city. You've done amazing. Go get. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
They could very well do that. But I do think that indicator, along with Carlos having a baby, they have their roots here. Like that's another indication. So we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, if they do re-sign Carlos Correa, man, it's like what
it's a fuck you to the league.
It's like what the Rockets said a couple years. Run it back. Run that shit back. So add in a couple of pitching pieces. Man, I can only imagine. I can only imagine if they re-sign Carlos Correa. It's gonna be expensive.
But the thing is, you lock him in. Let's say it's over 7, right? I think the window closes around 2025, so his contract would run through 2028, 2029. Those last 3 years, you can. We're in a rebuild, so
right. Oh yeah.
Hey, that's a future asset down the road. You can move Carlos Correa at he's 28. You can
so that'll be about years, 30,
32,
35,
33. Yeah, 33, 35 range. You can Someone's gonna buy that.
Oh yeah.
There'll be new contenders then, and you ship them off then. So I see it. I mean, I see both sides, but it makes, if I have the checkbook in my hand, I'm signing it and giving it to him and be like, put your number down, let's make it happen, let's go.
Yeah, I would say let's make it happen.
Yeah, so keep the party going.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Like I said, free agency opens in a couple of days. CBA expires on December 1st, so we're in for a wild offseason. I know that for a fact, especially with the CBA stuff. That is going to be the hot discussion once December gets here, because there could easily be a work stoppage.
For sure. And I think the biggest indication of how ugly it's going to get is going to be like that first week.
Oh, yeah.
That first week's going to say everything of what we're going to see, because it could be a hot minute of no baseball.
Right. And you know the owners and Rob Manfred aren't going to back down. The CBA, the players union is going to make their demands, and it's just going to be a volatile situation. Because like you said, Rob Manfred has made no friends.
Yeah.
Made no friends. They booed him the other night. When he was handing out the trophy, they booed him.
I know. I watched it all happen. I watched it again. I must love pain, because that's 2 times I've watched two teams celebrate on my field, and I
Yeah.
watched it happen. Sat there and watched it happen. It was disgusting.
God, baseball season is over.
Baseball sucks.
Hey, but on the bright side, here at Apollo, we've got some phenomenal things lined up.
For sure.
We
have
are
a lot of video content and shit.
we are very close. We are very close to greatness.
Very close to greatness.
If our interview with Brent Strom was a preview into what we've got coming, I'm ready.
And also shout out to all 610, 790, 97.5, all the media outlets like shouting us out. That was really cool.
Right.
I mean, they didn't have to do that. Obviously we all have friends at all those stations, so
Yeah.
that was really cool. It was a really cool moment to see that happen. And just once again to talk with Brent before he really retired. I guess we're the first and last group. So
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, Brent Strom, arguably one of the greatest pitching coaches in Major League Baseball, complimented us.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
oh man,
Us.
yeah,
Oh man. You gotta love that.
it's crazy.
Gotta love that.
That's yeah, sad to see him go. It's bittersweet though, man. I mean,
We're good hands with Murph and Miller.
Yeah.
We're good.
Absolutely. Well, Dez, yeah, I wish we were popping bottles right now, you know,
I know. Please don't ever do that.
spraying
Just-
everywhere. You know, we had to go off the rails at some point.
Oh man.
Ah,
I forgot we're
sucks.
on video.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah. Well, man, that's going to do it. What a ride it was this season. Man, from our first pod right after spring training to all the way to the end in November. World Series, Game 6, Astros lose. That's it. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
I can't
thank
even
you.
go.
You
I
have some
can't even-
wine? You got some wine? We gotta mention.
Well,
but
go ahead.
the other thing before you hit that, no, just the pod's not ending. It's not like we're gonna be done in spring training. We're gonna keep doing stuff throughout the month of
Off-season.
November and December and January before we get going for February. But no, I'm excited. I mean, it's the hot stove season. Hopefully baseball's around so we can do a hot stove
Yeah.
because it's gonna get ugly. But hey,
Yeah.
it's more content for us to just dissect and talk about.
Right. And, man, who knows? Maybe we might end up at the winter meetings.
We may fuck around and be at the winter meetings.
You never know.
Never know where we could pop up.
Never know.
Never know.
That's going to do it. Before we get out of here, Dez, you got anything?
You have a sponsor we have to thank.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, you're right. My bad. I forgot. I know you said the wine, but man, I didn't catch on.
Yeah. No, just super thankful for everyone listening and watching now. A heck of a year, a heck of a week. I slept for the first time in like a month and a half. That was really cool. I slept like 12 hours.
Yep.
I literally went to bed like at 8:15. Like, and then I didn't wake up till 8 the next morning.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I needed that. But no, rocked and ready to roll.
Yeah, and
Just
you
do
know,
it.
as the season comes to a conclusion, I just want to give a shout out to our producers, our guys behind the scene, and just our
100%.
entire Apollo team. Tony, Jacob, obviously our producer Josh, who's always behind the camera. JB,
Spaceman.
yeah, Spaceman, growing our Instagram. I mean, and going to watch parties, handling our merch, the newsletter from Spaceman. I mean, just all the guys and women, the men and women on our Apollo team that have supported us to make content throughout the baseball season. Obviously, we're going into the Rocket season, so our Rockets team is going to take over and put out all of their content. But man, just the people behind the scenes that don't get out on our posts and on our video podcasts and on our audio podcasts. But we don't get to do this without you guys. So
Amen.
big shout out to them. Thank you so much. And obviously to you, the fans, the listeners, the ones that spend money on our merch and wear them to Minute Maid Park. And I think it's a surreal feeling when you're walking around Minute Maid Park in the World Series and you see a massive amount of H-Town versus Everyone shirts. You see the franchise. You see the Luis
Machete
Garcia
and
shirts.
Chill.
Yeah, the Machete and Chill. I mean, just literally from the bottom of my heart, thank you everyone for the support this baseball season. It's truly it's special to see all the support that where we started and where we're going, or where we are now and where we're going to go. So again, thank you for all of the support, man. What a season it was. And we're just getting started here at Apollo HOU. So with that being said, I'm ready for some wine. I'm going to get hammered on red wine because the Astros are done. They lost in the World Series. So I'm going to go to Irma Rose. Irma Rose, your local Katy winery, where they make fruit wine with an elegant taste. Visit their location and experience a vibe like no other with live music, delicious food trucks, and a variety of local vendors to shop from. You can find their wines in 9 local HEB stores or online. Drink responsibly, and one last time, baby, go Stros. That's Irma Rose,
man,
your local Katy winery.
We may be, I guess we could say it. I don't have confirmation. I think we're gonna do a live show there. I think Jen has a idea to do like a ladies' night out there. And
this is ladies' night, and the feeling's right. Oh, this is ladies' night. What a night.
What are we doing?
Off the rails.
Josh is literally gonna clip that. Yeah. So Brian won't do that, so he doesn't turn people away from going to it. But maybe he will do it. I don't know. Oh gosh, what a way to end it. What a way.
That's it.
What a way.
That's it.
What? You just shimmy on camera?
I did, dude. I did.
Oh,
I did.
That's what happens if you don't win a World Series, ladies and gentlemen. Brian's now shimmying on camera. You can find his OnlyFans link below.
That's gonna do it. Peace.
Love you guys.
Cut it.
Oh man.